With the new rework, gadgetines have shot straight to the top of the meta. With several carries, excellent traits, and free items, this comp is basically a free win. This is ZOE reroll. In the early game, you want to secure Gadgetine 3, Defender 2. Rel is preferred of course, but Wukong is just as good. At level 5, you want to add in Lee Sin for Heart 2 and more frontline. You can also throw in Lux at level 5 for Spellslinger 2. Either Lux or Lulu should hold your damage items. I prefer Lux so that I don't have to remake Lulu. As for the early tank, Lee Sin is best because you can take him out later. But Annie is going to be on the board all game, so she's a great tank as well. Now for the opening carousel, it's important you start tier. It can be difficult getting 2 tiers for blue buff if you don't secure one at the start. Now if you don't get tier, then play for a tank item early because you'll need to survive as much as you can. It's best to try and go for a loss streak in the early rounds, and a tank item lets you do that without losing too much health. You should be looking to get priority for the 2-4 carousel to secure a tier for blue buff. Moving into the mid game, you want to spend all of your gold getting to level 7 ASAP. This is where you'll spend most of your time and gold from here. You want to be slow rolling for ZOE 3, LeBlanc 3, and if you're lucky, Annie or Alistar 3. If you do manage to 3-star a tank, then they should hold your items. If any units are contested, Zoe's the only one who truly matters. So get her 3-starred, then push for levels 8 and 9. Hopefully you can secure a Soraka and Echo 1 while rolling, but if you can't, then Vi and Lee Sin are workable substitutes. LeBlanc can be pretty useful on the hacker horse to distract enemy backlines and trade 1 to 2 units. As for admin buffs, you want to go for any team-wide buffs. Permanent HP, health shield, mana at round start, and attack speed are the best choices. Now in most games, you're not likely to go for level 9, unless you're contested, in which case, hitting ZOE 3 and rushing levels can be a great way to guarantee extra power on the board. Here at level 9, you want to add in the last 2 gadgetines, and give extra gadget items to Nunu most of the time. The added damage and tankiness fits perfectly for his ability. It's unlikely you hit Poppy this late in the game, so make sure to hold at least 1 copy on the bench unless you know for sure you can't go level 9. Alternatively, you can throw in more Aegis units like Leona and Vi if the lobby is heavy AP. If you've made it to level 9, then you're already competing for a top 4. From here, items, augments, and positioning will determine who's going to take first. So let's go over that now. If you want to improve and hit your rank goals, then you gotta sub to my channel so you never miss out on the latest meta updates and comp guides like this one. For damage items, blue buff is the key. You never want to play Shojin. If you have to slam it, then consider pivoting comps. Pair it with Gunblade for healing and Morello Namicon, which is actually very solid on Zoe because Zoe doesn't target the same hero twice in a row. Morello gets spread really fast and burns down many units all at once. Alternatively, you can also use Jeweled Gauntlet and Giant Slayer if you want to maintain flexibility. For tank items, you can start on any defender and transition to Annie or Echo depending on how late into the game you move your items. Ionic Spark is a key item to shred resistance from the front line. Combo that with Dragon's Claw and Warmogs if you can. Echo loves Gargoyle Stoneplate, so you can swap out Warmogs for that if you need to. For extra items, Redemption is excellent and Locket is decent if you have nothing else to slam. Protector's Vow is great for added beefiness, and I would rate it over Locket. Static Shiv is good if you didn't play Ionic Spark, and Sunfire Cape is good when you didn't make Morello Namicon. If you hit LeBlanc 3-star, then you should mainly focus on getting secondary carry items for LeBlanc. You can use the standard items for most mages, like Giant Slayer, Jeweled Gauntlet, Blue Buff or Shojin, or anything else you find. Now let's talk about augments. Gadgetine Crown lets you get early access to Gadget 5. Give the emblem to a frontliner to take advantage of the damage reduction. Heart Crown is really good because Heart Zoe is one of the best crowns you can play. With blue buff, she racks up AP super quickly. Think of it like an infinite Archangel Staff. Next, Prankster Crown is actually half decent. Giving it to a Gadgetine frontline makes use of both synergies, and with Prankster 3, you get added CC value to your dummies. Now for Exiles, I always recommend playing this. It provides so much durability, you can never go wrong if you need more survivability. Stand United is one of the best damage augments you can take in this comp. You throw in so many splash traits, you get so much value out of it. Ludin's Echo is another amazing damage augment. The reason it's so good is because Zoe is spamming her spell non-stop, which means you get a ton of procs. Now we're talking about hero augments. Without a doubt, both of Zoe's choices are S tier. I prefer Double Bubble as it almost doubles the damage you deal. Along with Zoe, both of Nunu's options are S tier. Now, I prefer They See Me Rolling when you don't hit LeBlanc strong 3-star. But Contagious Laughter is really good when you don't need another huge carry. Now our first A tier choice, Echo's Chrono Break, is actually really strong because it lets you clean up enemy boards. The only issue is that it takes 10 seconds to activate. Next, we have Poppy's Steadfast Presence. It's really good on 2-1 to add early durability, but it does fall off late game. Still, it's really good for early snowballing or to prevent you from losing too much HP. Moving into B tier, we have Lulu's Foster Growth. It's a decent choice and it makes good use of the bonus items you get from Gadgetines. You can take this if you need it, but it is relatively weak. For our last choice, we have Annie's Burning Spirit. This is honestly not that good. Foster Growth is much better to add damage, and so the only purpose is to get an early 2-star Annie. Otherwise, I would avoid it. Now for positioning, there isn't much to go over. In the early game, it can be useful to use the Hacker Horse to trade 1 to 2 units. However, you don't want to use it in the late game. Next, you always want to keep your Prankster units spread out. When clumped up, there tends to be issues with positioning as Zoe won't go very far from her dummy, so make sure to keep her isolated. Lastly, you want to keep Echo on the same side as Zoe. This is to prevent any units from targeting her. Echo's taunt will keep her safe. Other than that, just keep in mind the standard basics. Keep your carry on the opposite side of theirs, and avoid any clump spells and divers, and you'll do just fine. Zoe's spell doesn't target the same unit twice, so there's nothing special to note about her ability. Did this guide help? Then leave a like, as it helps others find the video too. Until next time, I'm Swagadelic.